Howdy, folks. I'm Grouchy Goatman of Maryland, grimly greeting green giants.
I'm Amber.
And here are more green giants for us to grimly greet. I guess that's what you do when they're giant green people. I don't know. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Transferring Universities and Graduating Early? I'm a 20-year-old male, and I was originally enrolled in a traditional university that my parents were paying for. I stayed for about a year and a half, but the teaching style just didn't work for me. The lectures were outdated, and the professors seemed more interested in following a rigid format than actually teaching. I also felt like the grading was biased. I started looking into alternatives and found an online university that seemed more in tune with how I learn. They accepted all of my previous credits and even evaluated some of my high school projects. Based on the quality of those and my life experience, they awarded me a degree after I completed 2 additional reports. I did not tell my parents about the transfer because they are very old school and do not understand how much education has changed. I also ended up saving some of the money that they had been giving me for tuition, which I used to cover other expenses. Recently, I landed a new job as a mid-level product manager. I start next week. The offer was based on the degree and my project work. I'm really proud of how everything came together. The problem is that my sister somehow found out about the transfer and has told my parents. She also started claiming that the degree is fake and unearned because they rebranded recently and my certificate has the old name. My parents are now upset and saying that I wasted their money and ruined my future. My sister keeps calling the degree a scam. She has both a bachelor's and a master's in computer science and is still working as a junior software engineer. I think that she is just jealous that I found a faster route and already got a better role. From my point of view, I found a path that worked better for me and led to a solid job opportunity. I did the work the program required and met their standards. Just because it was not a traditional university route doesn't mean that it was wrong. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, look, Opie, I'm glad that your path worked out for you, but it does sound like you were taken for a ride with a degree. If they are evaluating your high school projects as part of your credit and rushing you through the program, they're just after your money. So I think you did essentially scam your parents. They were paying for you money for a specific purpose. You didn't use the money for that specific purpose, and that's not okay.
Did they say what type of degree they got? Associates or bachelor's?
I think it's a bachelor's degree, but I don't think they ever specify.
Because they said they were in school for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? A year and a half before they decided to transfer schools, and then this other school picked them up and allowed them to basically, finish.
Graduate very quickly.
I would have to assume they have an associate's. If they have anything beyond an associate's, then yeah, I would say that this is certainly very sus about what the university has done to give them that degree, right? Transferring a university to a better school or a different school that it is more in line with your learning style is perfectly acceptable. However, there's a big asterisk here. The fact that the university had to rebrand because they were probably doing nefarious things tells me a lot about the degree program, right? I think that OP is lucky that things panned out the way that they did, that they were able to get a job, and this job may very well lead to other future, job experience and stuff like that that's going to allow them to move forward and continue on in their career path. Very, very fortunate. Like, this could have gone very differently and very wrong. The fact that OP actually got a job out of it, I have a hard time judging it, but I think that they do owe their parents an apology for not mentioning that this is what they were going to do, and then also taking the money that they gave them for education and then using it for other things. Like, that seems a little bit unscrupulous to me, That money was earmarked for OP's education, and now they're using it for other expenses. That seems wrong, right? They definitely should have talked to their parents about doing this and, moving forward with that. And you know what? Maybe the sister is jealous, right? Because, like, if she's working in a position that she doesn't like and this is something that isn't really working out for her, then she might feel like OP took a route, an unconventional route, and she might even be slightly jealous about it. That could very well be the case. She could also be deeply concerned that OP's degree is not a good degree, right? And if they got a bachelor's after 2 years at a, at this school, then that could be a huge red flag, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Lucky Volume 3819 says, "You're the jerk. What's wild is there's basically a zero chance that you didn't downgrade your education by going to an online-only school. Education really hasn't changed that much, and there's a reason people don't opt for online-only schools." And in regards to even evaluated some of my high school projects based on the quality of those and my life experience, they awarded me a degree after I completed 2 additional reports. This sounds like a joke. This is not an education. Then in regards to, she started claiming that my degree is fake and unearned because they rebranded recently and my certificate has the old name. Legitimate schools don't do quote-unquote rebrands. I also think that you're lying about the job that you got since you're cool with lying and stealing from your parents. Why stop lying there? Why would you get a mid-level position when you have no experience and a degree from a school that might not even be accredited? You don't even sound like you have the baseline skill set to do well in school. For all we know, you lied on your job applications too. You wouldn't be the first person with a non-existent credential to do so. Unfortunately, your way of going through life will catch up with you. Yeah, I mean, if they actually misrepresented themselves on their job application, that could spell trouble for them in the future, especially if they get to the job and they're wildly unprepared for what the role requires. Like, this might be where they, think they claim they have this degree, they get into the job, and the job's like, well, I thought you had this degree, why aren't you doing well, type of thing, right? And Single Permission 9373 says, yes, all of this OP, you do not have a legit degree and you essentially stole your parents' money since they were giving you money for a real university and you did not spend it on that. And Soggy Criticism 2967 says, let's not say it's not legit without even knowing the real name of the school, which begs the question, why not put the name of the school here? And Psycholinguist 1 says, no real university grants a degree on the basis of life experience and high school projects. You got scammed by a diploma mill. You're the jerk. Well, I mean, there are certain life experiences that schools will take, like military experience, for instance, and whatnot. There are certain, transfer credits between, certain jobs and whatnot that the university will take as, actual credits, because I got actual military credits from when I was in the military, and so I don't think that would qualify as kind of like life experience type of things. They were,
Well, but they're also kind of academic in nature too, and they were very specific. Like, you got a few credits from that, but it wasn't like, here's some kid who's fresh out of high school. It sounds who has, it sounds like no life experience beyond the basics.
Well, that right there I agree with, right? I was just saying, I was putting a little bit of an asterisk onto their statement where
schools will sometimes give you a little bit of credit for certain jobs you hold, but it's usually not a lot. And your credits were mostly electives, low level credits.
100 and 200 level classes, right?
They will not essentially hand you a degree because you did a job.
Although depending on the school, there were a couple schools that if I wanted to go to instead, I could have gotten a lot more of the credits transferred over. I think Thomas Edison University, which I don't know if is the most reputable university, but they would have taken basically enough credits where I would have only had to complete a couple of additional credits to get another degree. Maybe I should do that. I need more degrees.
Well, I mean, I think there's an issue there in the trade-off though, because most of the time, is it in line? Does it give you the skills you actually need for the job? So that's my big concern with things like that. I don't know what OP's supposed skills and life experience he has to qualify him for this degree.
Yeah. I've never heard of a school, though, taking high school experience or high school projects as part of a degree program, and that's the part that concerns me the most, right?
Well, because there are some schools where they have cooperations with a university where you take university classes as a high school student, or you take AP classes and get those transferred to as university credits. But they don't like look back at your high school projects and just be like, oh yeah, that was a pretty cool project you did. I'll give you credit for this.
Yeah. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk If I Tell My Parents That My Sister Never Graduated College 20 Years Ago? Will I be a jerk? Let me start this post off by saying that I'm 40 and I have returned to college to finish my degree. My sister, 47, lied to our parents over 20 years ago that she graduated college. The reason why I know that it was a lie is that she came to me when I was a senior in high school, and she told me that she had dropped out of college the year prior. And she was upset, and she didn't know what to do, and I told her that everything was going to be okay, and that I wouldn't tell mom and dad. Well, my parents pressed for a while to see her grades and see her diploma, but she was always able to make some kind of excuse and avoid answering the question, and eventually they just stopped asking. They were so excited that she had graduated and would tell everyone. Well, throughout the years, she had other issues and lied to my parents about those, and me being the only one that actually knew the truth about them. So for many years, it didn't bother me that she lied to my parents about it, especially since the last 2 years she was supposed to be on a scholarship. I also know that my parents were pushing her into a degree that she didn't want. Well, I guess 20 plus years of living in my sister's shadow and always being told how great her degree is and how great she is, it finally is just getting to me. My parents have made me feel like what I have accomplished in life was never good enough, and now, even returning to college, they make comments that my degree isn't going to be as valuable as hers, even though she's never worked in her degree field. I've been contemplating for a while just letting the truth come out, but I think that I would actually feel worse. I guess I'm just looking to see what other people's opinions on the situation are, and would I be the jerk if I told my parents the whole truth? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, I think you would be the jerk because you're doing this for all the wrong reasons. Like, what are you hoping to accomplish? Your parents are the ones who have wronged you. They are being not very nice people, and I understand your frustration there. But ask yourself, is throwing your sister under the bus really going to get you the effect you want? Is it going to make you feel good about yourself?
Yeah.
Or is it just going to, create more heartbreak?
Yeah, they're punishing the wrong person here, right? The parents are the ones who are being like this. This isn't on the sister, right? Now, I do understand OP's frustration because, OP has kept this secret for a long time. And if their sister isn't standing up for them or is actively encouraging this, I might actually have a little bit of a different view on that, right? Like that might be a move into the just desserts type of field here. But if this is, she's standing up for OP, she isn't encouraging this behavior, and she doesn't like the fact that the parents are constantly comparing them, then that's a different situation to me, and it would feel very like, punishing the wrong person type of situation. Now, I do think that OP, maybe it might be for the best if they just went low contact with their parents instead, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this is causing them a lot of stress, then that might be the thing that actually is the best idea for them. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk If I Reported an International Student to the Authorities for Her Illegal Activity? So I'm a 21-year-old male. I'm a college student at a university. I stay in a student residence building owned by a private company, and there are students from mostly 3 colleges in the area. There's this girl who I'm kind of acquainted with since we have mutual friends who live in the building and they go to another university. It is a very prestigious and expensive college, and she studies computer engineering and is in her 3rd year. She is an international student born in Afghanistan, but left as a child to Pakistan and then 13 to Dubai before coming here. Recently, I found out by overhearing her talking to other mutual friends that she works under the table for cash, helping out behind the scenes at a small business owned by one of her family friends. Additionally, I know that she has a side gig where she flips electronics like phones that she refurbishes herself and does stuff like screen repair on phones and laptops. I know this because she fixed the screen on my laptop for $100 when it broke. However, I also recently found out that this work is likely not allowed on a student visa. And I have been struggling to find a part-time job, and it's just frustrating to see others abuse the system. I know that international students have to show that they have funds to be here, and given that she's from Dubai and her parents work there and she goes to such expensive schools, I doubt that she needs the money and is just being greedy for more. Will I be the jerk if I reported her? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, you would be a major jerk here. She is not taking away your jobs and opportunities. It sounds like she's even done you a favor by like helping you with repair. And you're just upset that someone else has a job when you aren't getting the job opportunities you want. But again, it sounds like she's doing work under the table. Like, what's stopping OP from starting his own little under the table, like, electronics repair
Well, it doesn't
thing?
even sound like OP's in the computer repair business because they would repair their own computer
I mean,
screen,
that's
right?
fair.
Oh, I mean, is she taking away any kind of job from OP at all? What degree program is OP even in? And I doubt it's computer engineering, right?
Right.
Now, the thing is this, OP is making a huge assumption. There are a lot of people who work in Dubai that don't have any money at all, right? And if she was a refugee from, a few different countries here, in Afghanistan in particular, she might not actually have as much money as OP thinks she does, right?
Right. Well, he's making some giant assumptions about her. And it sounds like because he's frustrated that things aren't panning out well for him. And like, it's unfortunate things aren't panning out as well as he'd like. But again, OP, examine your motives. You are just frustrated and lashing out. You're not actually trying to help anyone.
Now, whether or not, she should be doing these jobs or not. I mean, like the phone repair business or, repairing electronics, I think that certainly like that's not a big deal at all, right? Working at this other business where she's kind of working under the table, I guess it depends on like what capacity she's doing this at, right? I mean, the thing is that there are people who violate these work visas all the time, and whether or not that's right or wrong, the thing is like even people like I hate to use the example, but Elon Musk, for instance, violated his work visa, right? They're very restrictive, and people do need money, and people do need, to get by from a day-to-day basis, and it can be very difficult, especially if you are international and you don't have the resources to make your way through the program, right? And there's nothing to say that she isn't at that school on a scholarship and she doesn't have a lot of extra money to go to that, right? So I don't know. I think that OP should just mind their own business. I don't know. I just think some people would definitely disagree with me on that, but I just don't feel like this rises to the level of being like, oh, she's clearly doing these terrible things to violate her visa. I would feel a little different about it if they had proof that she was earning like six figures or something like that, and like really going out of her way to scam the system or something like that. But given that it sounds like petty cash, I mean, really, you're gonna get somebody kicked out of the United States because of petty cash type of thing? Really? I don't know. That just seems a little bit off-putting to me. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck.
Not to mention, in the current political climate, it could be very dangerous too.
Well, where are they going to send her? To like Afghanistan? Like that right there alone. Hopefully they would send her back to Dubai, right? But if it was Afghanistan, for instance, then that could be very dangerous for her, especially, right? But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Definitely the jerk. The wheel agrees.
Yeah.
All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Which fast food staple is most fearful?
Oh, fast food staples? Well, I don't know of any fast food staples that are particularly, fearful. Like they're kind of made out of metal and they're very sharp, and so if you like, they're, I don't know what you would fear if you were a staple in that case. Maybe magnets?
A milkshake.
That's certainly not a staple.
But it's a fast food staple, like one of the staple fast food items. National Chocolate Milkshake Day today.
I mean, I know. I was just being ridiculous. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, folks. Fantastic Friday. I can't believe we made it to the end of the week. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on a good college education.
If an offer from a school sounds too good to be true, then they're probably just taking your money.
Probably. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!